So, you guys just watched the last video of the first book, Skeleton Creek. What did you think? Scary, right? They went into that little hidey hole, and what did they see? Mm-hmm. Yeah, old Joe Bush did come and lock them in. But there were also, yep, the names, and there was some sort of thing on the wall that Sarah thought they could move. I don't know what that it was about. What names did they see? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe Bush was there. Francis Palmer. Don't know who Francis Palmer is. What other names? His dad? Yeah. Gladys, who's the librarian. There was a doctor on there. The apostle. I don't know who that is. So there were a lot of people we don't know and some we do. Very, very suspicious. Especially Ryan's dad. So, who do you think let them out? Do you think somebody came and saved them? But who? Mm. Yeah, that's a good thought. And then there was the message, "Don't make me come looking for you," on the wall. That we saw in the first video to this book, Ghost in the Machine. It's the second part in the series. So I'm going to read the first section of it today until we hit our next video from Sarah Fincher. All right. So we have our picture, and it says at the bottom, "I can't stop thinking about it." And it's a picture of Joe Bush when he peeked in at them. Creepy, creepy. All right. Sunday, September 19th, after midnight. Am I really doing this? What's taking her so long? It's cold in here. I can't go down there again. Birdie carved in wood under the gears. Why? That's right, there was a birdie carved in there too. I forgot about that. Careful now. You've been warned. Remove this cryptix and suffer the consequence. When curiosity meets deadly explosive force. That sound again, not the steps, something else. Sarah's eyes are big. She's terrified. I couldn't see it. I only felt it. Don't make me come looking for you. Francis Palmer, Jordan Hook, Wilson Boyle, Hector Newton, Joseph Bush, Dad, Gladys, the Apostle, Dr. Watts. So those are the names that they saw, and he's repeating them. Sunday, September 19th, 7:20 a.m. How did I get back in my room? The last thing I remember really clearly is standing at the top of the stairs in the dredge and looking down. After that, everything is fuzzy around the edges. Something about seeing my own bloodstain on those old floorboards sort of did me in. Ugh, yuck. So it was shock. That's it. I was in shock. My brain was smart enough to shut down. I was a zombie, more or less. I sure looked like one on that video. I can piece this together. Between the video and my notes from the dredge, I'm sure I can do this. Brand new journal. Brand new memories. I'm glad I started with a blank slate. It's like a new lease on life. This is totally going to work. I remember walking up the alley and there she was, standing in the headlights with her camera on. I didn't realize how much I missed seeing her until I shuffled up on my crutches like an idiot and gave her the lamest hug ever. I remember getting in her car and feeling very nervous as we left the alley, like I was going to throw up. Sarah didn't want Bonner driving around and seeing her car and maybe coming after us in the middle of the night, so we parked a long way from the trailhead. This made the endless walk through the woods seem even longer. But let me tell you, dragging a wrapped-up leg through the woods is no picnic. It's a long hoof out there. I mean, really long. By the time we got there, I was thinking we'd made a big mistake. I'm sure that's why I scribbled, "Am I really doing this?" at the top of the first page of this new journal. For obvious reasons, I didn't want to take the old one with me and risk it being lost or, I don't know, captured. Because remember, at the end of the last journal, he left a code so in case they never came back, someone could find the video and then maybe find them. So he had to leave that one behind. It was this like safety net. All right. And those next words, what's taking her so long? I remember those words too. We'd finally arrived at the dredge and Sarah left me alone with the camera. I panned it over each of the windows in the dredge while I waited for her to come back and tell me she'd cut the lock on the door. I didn't want to see a ghost in one of those windows, but I couldn't stop looking for one. When Sarah came back, I followed her down the last part of the path. Before I knew it, we were inside. It's cold in here. I remember thinking it was chilly. September in Skeleton Creek is preceded by a long, warm summer that lulls you to sleep. Then bang! The cold nights show up out of nowhere like a screen door in your face. So it was cold in the dredge, and that's why Sarah was talking with a tiny pattern of starts and stops in her voice. It wasn't because she was afraid. She was cold. Can't go down there again. This is where the shock set in, I'm pretty sure. I didn't say I couldn't go down the stairs again, but when we reached the top, I knew I couldn't do it. Stairs were a bad omen in every Alfred Hitchcock movie I'd ever seen, a prelude to something sinister about to happen. And what was much worse, this was the place I'd had the accident and almost died. That was it for me. It was either get out by another way or die trying. I remember how it felt to be back there, sort of like someone had cut off the oxygen to my lungs and left me for dead. I floated through the rest and I woke up in my bed. I still can't believe everything on that video. Somehow my zombie form arrived inside the secret room. Seeing that video reminded me of something. I saw the birdie carved in wood. I remember leaning over into the gears instinctively and glancing down into the opening. There's a memory packed in frozen storage somewhere in which I've done this before. I can't crack the ice, but it's there. What jolted me back to reality? It must have been seeing Sarah turning the dials at the same time I was reading the warning about the whole place exploding. It was like she had a stick of lit dynamite in her hand. Stop touching it! I screamed these words, or at least I thought I did. But watching the video, I see that I only screamed in my head. I hate that I can't trust what I saw and what I felt. It's like a repeat of the night I fell with everything grayed out. I still can't remember the right order or whether certain things happened or not. The scariest thing about watching Sarah's videos is that I don't always know what's coming next. That sound again. Okay, this I recall perfectly. I've read those 3 words on the first page of this journal 4 or 5 times already, and every time I hear the same sounds, it's like a soundtrack. That sound again, that sound again, that sound again. I can't describe it, but I heard it at least twice in the video. Once when we were in the alley, and once when I saw the birdie. I need to watch that video again because I can't say for sure if the sound is really there or not. It's like I see things, the ghost or the birdie, and I hear the sound. Am I hearing it in my head? Is there some sort of visual cue that's making my brain create the sound? Or is the sound really there? I scribble the names, all of them. But here's the strange part. I don't remember when I wrote the names down. It's an awful lot to remember all those names, but I don't think I wrote them until later. Believe it or not, I think I woke up in the dark in my own bed and did it. I've actually done this before when I was small. I used to do it all the time. I'd wake up when I was 5 or 6 years old and find that I'd drawn the words green eggs ham in crayon on the wall in the middle of the night. Why'd you do that? My dad would ask in the morning. I was asleep. Someone else did it. We've told you not to write on your wall, Dad would say, all stern like he was going to punish me. I didn't do it, I'd insist. Is that so? Then who did? Did you lock the doors last night? My dad, and my mom for that matter, knew then what they know now. I could talk them into their graves if they let me. I could go on and on about whether they locked the windows and checked every room and flushed the toilets and 100 other things that might or might not have to do with how my walls got covered in purple crayon. Stop writing on your walls. That's all my dad had the energy to say once he could see I was heading down a path that might take 20 minutes and would lead absolutely nowhere. Most of the time, or so it seems to me, if Dad says anything in my general direction, it's either a warning or a reprimand. I have come to accept the fact, which technically speaking is pretty sad. At least he never yells at me. So anyway, this idea of sleep writing like someone might sleepwalk, I think it might have revisited me last night, because I'm just about sure I didn't consciously write those names on the front page. Looking at the scrawled names, I'm asking myself, just like my dad used to ask, why did you do that? Francis Palmer, Jordan Hook, Wilson Boyle, Dr. Watts. Who are these people? And what about Hector Newton and the Apostle? Who are they? I've never heard of a single one of them, so why are their names carved in stone inside a secret room on the dredge? And while we're at it, why is my dad's name hidden in that room right under Joe Bush's name? And the local librarian? Sarah's eyes are big. She's terrified. I couldn't see it. I only felt it. I'm glad I didn't see old Joe Bush for myself when we were trapped in the secret room. I'm glad I was wedged in there facing the wall so I couldn't turn around. Seeing a ghost on video is bad enough. I don't need to see it in person. Later in the car, I sort of remember this conversation now. Sarah said it was the scariest thing she'd ever seen. Like whatever terrible thing was out there and had her trapped and wanted her dead. She said the ghost of old Joe Bush sniffed the air, which I didn't really get from watching the video. That's how she felt about it. When he leaned in, she saw his face and almost screamed. She'd wanted to scream, but old Joe Bush was almost touching the back of my head, and she was completely paralyzed with fear. I remember something else now, something horrible. I remember at that moment it felt extra cold, like a giant block of ice was about to touch the back of my neck. But I didn't turn around. I didn't get to see it until I watched the video a few minutes ago. The more I remember, the more I wish Sarah had never shown it to me. There's a big gap now, a whole section I just don't remember at all. I don't remember getting out of the secret room, or coming to the stairs and insisting once again that I couldn't go down. I don't remember racing through parts of the dredge I'd never seen before, or cowering in the corner. I absolutely don't recall getting back up and making myself hobble forward until we came to the way out. Don't make me come looking for you. A message smeared on the door. The kind of words that say, don't you dare tell the cops. Don't tell your parents. Don't trust anyone in this town. Most of all, don't ever come back into the dredge again. That I remember. I remember it more than anything else from last night, for the worst possible reason. I remember it because when I woke up this morning, I got out of bed and shuffled over to my desk. When I turned around, I saw that I'd scrawled those very words on the wall over my bed. So he wrote those words. Remember he said he's someone who writes in his sleep? Well, he just did that with those same scary words on the wall over his bed. It's very disturbing when you come to the realization that you've been awake without knowing it, doing bizarre things you can't recall. Then again, maybe I didn't write the message on the wall over my bed. It could be someone else's writing. I guess it could be my dad's or Ranger Bonner's. Or more likely, the ghost of old Joe Bush followed me home so he can make sure I understood him the first time. Sunday, September 19th, 8:15 a.m. Who do you think put the message on Ryan's wall? Who do you think did it? He said it could be his dad, maybe he did it, old Joe Bush, Daryl Bonner. Who do you think? Why do you think that? I could see that. All right, back to reading. We're almost at the next video. Sunday, September 19th, 8:15 a.m. I just spent the last 20 minutes standing on my bed with a wet rag, scrubbing words off the wall. Ink is a lot harder to wash off than a purple crayon. It's especially difficult because my leg is still killing me, and standing on my bed without falling off is a real trick. For some reason, the word don't was darker than all the other words, so it reads more like, don't make me come looking for you. But it didn't really matter because 20 minutes of scrubbing did almost nothing to remove the words. What I really need is some sandpaper and a can of paint. I moved my Dark Side of the Moon poster to cover the message. I haven't even noticed that poster for months and months. I think I only ever listened to Pink Floyd for about a week in the 8th grade to begin with. I have no idea why I still have it hanging in my room. My mom came in a few minutes later and stood over my bed, staring at the poster I'd moved. I used to listen to that music when I was your age, she said. Did I ever tell you that? She told me about 1,000 times, so I nodded. Why did you move it? I shrugged and changed subjects, hoping she wouldn't notice I pinned it up slightly crooked and try to fix it. I think I'll stay in bed a little longer. I didn't sleep so well last night. Mom was still staring at the poster like it brought back some memory she hadn't had in a while. Then she looked down at me. Your dad wants you out of this room and doing something with your life. Back to school in only a week, remember? You've really got to get used to walking on that leg. If only she'd known how far out of my room I'd been the night before. I gave her my tired look, which wasn't hard because I was exhausted. She sighed. I can hold him off another half hour with bacon and eggs. Then she went to the door and turned back for one more look at the poster. You know it's crooked, right? I closed my eyes like I was dozing off and nearly fell asleep by accident. When the door was shut and I was sure she was gone, I pulled my phone out from under my pillow. Sarah had said 8:30 a.m., and it was 8:30 a.m. There was a one-word text message on my screen, which I recognized from one of my favorite books. Does Sarah think I'm losing my grip on reality, just like Jack Torrance did? I wish I could remember everything from last night, but I can't. Maybe I'm going crazy, and I just don't know it. Suppose if I were losing my marbles, I'd be the last one to know. I deleted the password, went to my desk, and logged on to Sarah's site. So we're at our next video. I'm going to put the link and the password right in the description below for this video, but for some reason you guys still can't get it or you need me to send it to you again, just email me and let me know and I will do that for you. All right? Have fun!